From the greatest generation of the 40s to the hippies of the 60s, to the yuppies of the 80s, to Gen Xers, there are things that connect them all. However, sometimes it feels millennials are about as connected to their previous generations as Michael Vick felt connected to PETA. This is another episode of Shit Millennials Will Never Get. Imagine the family gets cleaned up and ready to head out for a meal on a Friday night. There are 2 steps on the trip and they want pizza and a movie. Millennials are yelling, "Hey, we know this one, we do that too." What they don't get is how cool it was to actually eat in a Pizza Hut. That's right, eat pizza in a Pizza Hut. The sit-down Pizza Huts are getting less and less common. Most towns have none, or the ones that still remain do way more delivery and carry out. But at one time, sitting down at a Pizza Hut was a cool thing. People would take their families to Pizza Hut. They would take ball teams to celebrate victories to Pizza Hut. Some classes would field trip it up to the Pizza Hut. Hell, some big spenders would take a date there. Most of them had a jukebox, and you could play REO Speedwagon backed by Journey on it. Most had the sit-down Pac-Man or Donkey Kong games in the corner. You walked in and smelled the Pizza Hut smell. And you couldn't wait for your pizza to be served to you still in the pan, that if you touched it, it'd burn your fingerprints off and you could have a life of crime. The movie part of the equation came when you went to rent a movie. Some millennials will still remember Blockbuster, but I'm talking about a real movie store. One room, and the owners had to pay like $1,000 a tape to get the new releases, so when a movie came out, they only had one copy. You had to get there early and hope you beat anybody else to the store, or you'd be relegated to watching B movies because that was all that's left on the shelf. There was no keeping the movie for 5 days. The movie was due back the next day, and with only one copy, the store got 30 phone calls every morning wondering if you returned the flick. The back room you didn't allow kids into because that's where the nudie tapes were at. You swung open the curtain and you looked for something naked. And while we're at it, in that back room, it wasn't just naked movies. Millennials, you wanted to get in that back room because if you were lucky, they might have a copy of a Faces of Death video. The videos that supposedly showed real people dying real deaths. These were the things of urban legends. You know, millennials now run around with their whole life on video as if it'd be some crime not to share some vegan camel toe artificial butthole tofu meal that they had to eat. Some of our fondest times were dinner at Pizza Hut, bringing back a movie that said "Be Kind, Rewind" on it, popping up some microwave popcorn, and trying to stay awake and watch the movie you just rented and had to return in less than 12 hours. This is a family joy that millennials will never get.